Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm the teacher.
I'm Ruth, and I'm the athlete.
Basketball skill, defensive movement. Picture of basketball court tactile map, tactile basketball diagrams, sound source, polyspots, artist's figurine.
In this video, we're going to be going over the basketball skill of defensive movement. To practice this skill with our athletes, we use a variety of teaching techniques as well as some adaptive equipment to make basketball accessible to blind or visually impaired individuals. To start with, we're going to go over our tactile map to orient ourselves to the key features of a basketball court. In my hands, I have our tactile basketball map that also includes Braille and some large print for Braille and our large print readers to be fully accessible. Ruth and I are going to explore this together now. So Ruth, this is our basketball court. You can feel around in that large rectangle that goes all the way around the outside is the boundary line, as well as the line that runs through the middle that divides the court in half. It's the half court line. And then as you work around and keep moving back towards those shorter sides of that rectangle, you'll find the key. That's a smaller rectangle inside of it with a little half circle at the top, as well as a circle inside the keys representing our basketball hoop. There's a large half circle that surrounds that key in that rectangle, and that's the 3-point line. Do you have any questions about our basketball court?
No.
Great.
Use a tactile diagram to demonstrate the movement.
So Ruth, we'll be able to feel the outline of our defensive player here. We'll notice that his feet are nice and wide, a little wider than shoulder width apart, with a good knee bend, and his arms are out to his sides the whole time. He's facing our offensive player with his back towards the basket. Do you have any questions about that positioning so far?
No.
Great.
Use an artist's figurine with the athlete to demonstrate the movement.
All right, Ruth, so this is our artist figurine. We've got their arms nice and wide. Their hands end up about waist height with a nice little forward lean with our chest pointed at our opposing player. And then we can feel down his legs, and we can feel that he's got a good knee bend, and his feet are a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Do you have any questions about our artist figurine?
No.
Awesome.
Use tactile modeling to demonstrate the movement.
All right, Ruth, now we're going to practice with some tactile modeling. So I'm going to get into our defensive position, and then I'm going to have you feel how my arms are nice and wide, as well as how I've got my knee bend, okay? So I'm going to get in that defensive position. I've got my feet spread just a little wider than shoulder width apart, and then I've got my hands out to my sides. So if you want to place your hands on my right arm, starting at my right hand, you can feel how my palms are forward, and my arms are nice and straight as you work your way up towards my elbow. I've got my arms nice and extended, and you can feel at my shoulder that they're wide out, pointed away from my body.
Use a variety of equipment to make the skill accessible for the athlete.
To help our athletes orient on the court, we can place a beeping sound source on each hoop to allow our athletes an audible target to work towards during gameplay. We can also use a bell basketball that has bells in it that provides an auditory cue for all of our athletes. Another way that our athletes can differentiate between opposing teams is to wear bell wristlets or rattle wristlets for the opposing team to differentiate between each player. If our athletes see a certain color better than others, that's the color we want that team to be wearing to be able to differentiate between offensive and defensive teams. So Ruth, to work on our defensive movement, I'm going to grab our tactile map and we're going to go over the path we're going to take as we practice that defensive movement. So once we practice that defensive movement, we're going to turn on a beeping sound source, and that's going to represent our hoop. And then I'm going to dribble the ball through a path, and I want you to be able to stay between myself and the hoop.
Use a tactile map to familiarize the athlete with the court.
So Ruth, in my hands, we've got our tactile map. We'll feel a circle with a hole in the middle of it. That's going to represent our hoop with a beeping sound source. We'll move towards the middle of the court now, and we'll feel a circle, and that's going to be our starting spot. And then we're going to move up to the left towards the sound source in the hoop, and that's going to be our first target that's represented by this Velcro circle here. Then we're going to move towards the hoop to our right, and that's going to be our third target where we'll finish up. Now I'm going to start our drill.
Matt is dribbling the ball, and Ruth is moving from left to right, maintaining the defensive position.
Nice. That was really good. I liked how you stayed in that defensive position that whole time, and you were able to move to each target to your left and your right through that side shuffle. That was really good. And that was our basketball skill of defensive movement. Through good teaching techniques, good communication, and adaptive equipment, basketball can be accessible for all who are blind or visually impaired.
For more, visit the Sports Adaptations page at www.nwaba.org. Thank you for watching. Slide of NWABA logo.